How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today I'm going to be taking a look at some Pokemon rumors, as well as also some actual Nintendo Switch leaks that may have been popping out. So sit back and let's get started. First things first, guys, we're going to be jumping right over here to this post on 4chan. It includes this, what looks to be, at least, a image of a Pokemon DLC promo. Now, I'm going to be real with you. The image doesn't really look that realistic. It says the grand finale. It's got a bit of a castle in the background and a few, like, icons and stuff on the left and the right, and it's free download. But if we read what the actual post says from the person here, they say the following, which is, Scarlet and Violet, the grand finale. A live-action trailer was filmed this year showcasing a boy meeting up with three friends visiting a metropolis and meeting a man with his arms crossed in front of a skyscraper. At least that's what this person is claiming here. A free update is going to be available after the presents if you purchase the DLC. The Battle Frontier, and also, by the way, this thing was called Pokemon Day 2025 Scarlet and Violet Updates, what they said here. They say apparently that if you purchase the DLC, the Battle Frontier will open up in the Paldea in the inaccessible area of the map. You start off completing 3 battles in the Battle Tower, then the other 4 buildings open up. There are mostly original characters who control the facilities, but Barry actually returns, Barry being, of course, the rival from Gen 4, returns and is the new director of the Battle Tower. That would be a cool little reference. Not gonna lie, that'd be a pretty fun little reference. There is a 6th sub-facility titled the Tantalizing Terra Tower that can also be played online, and you can be a Terra raid boss while 3 other players must take you down before the timer runs out. Now again, would be really cool, though I really doubt, and I'm going to talk about my opinion a bit later after this post has been read on my thoughts on this, but I really doubt they'd add something like this. But either way, they say, though, apparently that before the timer runs out, different rewards depending on who wins, battle points return, and there is an NPC who comments on how the blueberry points can be used as BP, battle points in this case, and how they sound similar. That, I mean, I know this is probably not real, but that does sound like something they would do, like, actually. Now, you can team up with Nemona for multi-battles. She has a new outfit now, which, I mean, that would be cool if true. They also say the 4 land spirit Pokemon return, and Snacksworth can give you their treats to obtain them. Some information not in the trailer includes Meltan and Melmetal now being transferable, and Victini is gifted to you after you complete the 5 main battle facilities. Celebi is able to be caught in the Timeless Woods, and, let's see, what is that? Graciumi. Graciumi is the final Pokemon in the Paldea Pokedex, and is a mythical Pokemon. It is a Fire Fairy type Pokemon, which is a Fireworks Pokemon. It'll be obtainable via a code distribution event later on. Apparently, Legend ZA will also be mentioned during the presents after the update. So, yeah, okay, this is really strange. But, okay, first of all, most likely fake. Now, to start off, the first thing you will notice is that the actual image here that they made isn't really, no offense to whoever made this. I mean, you know, like, again, good job even making anything. But it doesn't kind of come to that standard that you would expect from an actual, you know, logo. I feel like I could recreate this in about 10 minutes in Photoshop. You know, it doesn't really stand out. It doesn't give off any specific, you know, vibes. It just doesn't look real, okay? Let me put it like that. So that already gives away this most likely being fake. Also, the idea of them dropping another DLC or an update for Scarlet and Violet now, highly unlikely. We are now at the tail end of this game's existence, right? Like, you gotta understand, next year we got Legends EA, which is the one game that's supposed to keep us busy for almost 2 years. So whenever that game comes out next year, you have to wait at least another year and a half. So let's say, hypothetically, if Legends EA came out in the middle of 2025, right? Like, literally the middle of the year. Then we have approximately a year and a half to wait before we get Generation 10, which is, you know, gonna be pretty much like the next big thing for Pokemon, because Legends EA, as much as I'm excited for it, it's not going to be groundbreaking in terms of popularity, right? From a popularity standpoint, it's not going to be that massive. I mean, it's going to be massive because we're going to be so dry and burnt out from playing Scarlet and Violet that people are just going to be excited for anything Pokemon related. But, like, it's not going to be that heavy as of a hitter as, like, a new generation, because Generation 10 is going to be a new gen, and a new gen, whew, baby, a new generation is way bigger, way larger of a thing than any of this. So keep that in mind. So it makes no sense, since we're going to have that game to keep us busy for a year and a half next year, to have this coming out as well. Like, of course, I would love this, man. Anything to keep us busy and have us something like more fun to do, and literally anything to help Scarlet and Violet become even better games than I think they currently are, which I'm not the biggest fan of the DLC being a DLC and not just free update and a part of the actual base game. I still like what we do have there, so I'm going to leave it at that because, I don't know, I have a few thoughts, but I'll go into them a bit further later. Now, moving on from this, we have a quick little thing I want to mention, which is that, of course, we have a new update coming out for Pokemon TCG Pocket. Now, I unfortunately cannot play the game. It is quite literally banned where I'm at. I can literally not play it in this country. So I haven't been able to enjoy it, but there is a update out now, which is released called the Mythical Island Themed Booster Pack Expansion alongside new solo battles and more. And you guys can actually go and enjoy that right now if you do play it and try to get your hands on the little Mew, the little Mew GX or EX in this case. So yeah, look, you know, just have fun, but yeah, so that is pretty much that. In terms of that, also you do have some new backgrounds that have been added. You guys can see right here from El Chico, Chico Eevee, who actually like basically data mines all this kind of stuff, which is shout out to Eevee by the way for doing this. But yeah, you guys got a bunch of these new cards and stuff that you guys can check out. That's pretty much that. Also new coins, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much summarizing that. Now we're going to talk about something a slightly bit different. But before we talk about that, first this. This video is brought to you by Red Pro Club. Now, Red Pro Club is a company that restores old game consoles. In my case, they sent me a 3DS XL limited edition from Pokemon X and Y. And honestly, this is the best time to get your hands on a 3DS XL if you don't already have one. Because, guess what? We got Pokemon Legends EA right at the doorfront, so it's the best time to replay Pokemon X and Y, just like I'm doing. And the best part is, they really put a lot of effort into the restorations of these consoles. They do their best to make sure they only use official parts and only if necessary use third-party elements. In my case, this thing is beautiful. There are no scratches or blemishes. There's no scruffs. I mean, it can occur, but I really see nothing on this thing. And since the eShop is shut down, they do preload this thing with a bunch of games for you to enjoy. In my case, I still have Pokemon X and Y version, so I've been playing those in preparation for Legends EA. They also offer loads of other consoles on their website like Game Boys and Nintendo DS's, so if you want those, then go check out their website. If you use our discount code RuffledRowlit right now, you can get 10% off your order. So thank you to Red Pro Club for sponsoring this video, and I'll be having some fun with this tonight while playing in bed. All right, so now that we're back, let's take a look at this right here. So this is a rumor about the Nintendo Switch 2 launching with 3 different versions. Now, what does this mean? Well, guys, think about how many versions of the Switch we currently have. You have the regular Switch, you have the Switch OLED, and you have the Switch Lite, right? These are 3 different versions of the Switch that you guys get your hands on. Apparently, according to this rumor, and according to a leak, a Nintendo Switch 2 may come in 3 versions. Players may be able to choose between 3 color schemes, gray, white, and a special edition theme after a particular game. The anonymous source also claims that Nintendo Switch 2 will be released in mid-March 2025. Now, according to the latest rumors, the tentatively named Nintendo Switch 2 could be available in 3 different versions when it finally launches. The internet has filled with rumors and speculation about the console's successor, but yeah, either way, since it was officially confirmed by Nintendo President Shutaro Furukawa earlier this year, with many of the pertaining to the system's yet unrevealed design and hardware specifications. Now, it is believed Nintendo Switch 2 will retain the console/handheld hybrid format of its predecessor, with leaked images seemingly depicting a Switch-like system with new buttons and improved magnetic Joy-Con controllers. Some of these images come from third-party peripheral companies like Satisfy and D-Brand, which, yes, D-Brand did seemingly leak it. They did kind of leak it, it looks like, if you guys haven't already seen the images, but you know, they did sort of do it. So Satisfy accidentally put a trailer for the upcoming product, the Zen Grip 2 for the Nintendo next gen console, and apparently, and in it, they just showed that Switch 2 in it, like straight up just shows it. It's blurred, but it's not much. It's our first Switch 2 look. So you guys can see right there basically what the Switch 2 is. So let's be real. The Switch 2 will basically just look like any other handheld. It's not that crazy. I think we're a little bit too excited about it. I'm just curious more about what's the hardware going to look like in this thing. What kind of chip is it going to be running? Because that's what I'm mostly curious about, right? Like the biggest thing with the Switch is they have like a Tegra chip in there, which unfortunately it just cannot run a lot of games as well as we would like to. It runs most games pretty shittily. And it would be really nice if they genuinely actually, you know, put a better chip in there. I know that the Z1 Extreme chips, or the Z1 chips essentially from AMD, which I'm assuming they're going to stick to NVIDIA here, like, you know, Nintendo. They're going to probably stick to NVIDIA. I'm assuming, unless they're pissed about the whole, you know, mess up from NVIDIA with their chips. with the first version of the Switch that came out, which had that like, vulnerability that allowed you to actually hack your Switch, which is what a lot of us did. But yeah, point is, I don't really know where they're going to be at in regards to this, but we'll see, we'll see. Additionally, though, apparently the rumors claim that the Switch 2 could be costing in the ballpark of $399 to $449, which is, it's still cheaper. Still cheaper than most consoles, but I swear you could probably get a used Steam Deck for about the same price. Like, realistically. You could probably get a used Steam Deck. Shit, you could even probably get a regular Steam Deck for almost, for like, maybe not an OLED, but a Steam Deck LED for about the same price. So, I mean, yeah, it is lower cost than a lot of other stuff. Like, for example, I got this lovely, and I really mean lovely, Lenovo Legion Go for my lovely girlfriend. She got it for my birthday, which I'm very, very happy with. But the thing is, this thing is way stronger than a Switch. I can run Cyberpunk on this thing. You cannot run Cyberpunk on a Switch, as far as I'm aware. You can't. And it has a lot to do with the chip that's in there, and also just overall, not enough RAM, not enough this, not enough that. This thing can run a lot of stuff, though. Like, a lot of games. Very many games. Almost every game that I have, like, in my library, I can actually play on here. I actually have a harder time playing older games because they're just not compatible with controllers, but that's besides the point. Point is, this thing can run almost anything, and looks-wise, it looks just like a Switch. You can even take off the controllers. Like, look, you can even take them off. Now, of course, these don't really necessarily, these are kind of, like plug-and-play sort of. You just plug them in, but they do have like a magnetic little grip thingy here that does sort of, latch on. So I'm assuming that it's going to run in a similar way. Like, I'm assuming that the Switch 2's controllers are going to be in a similar style, so to say. At least that's my assumption. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't know. Point is, if they want to achieve, like, this level of, like, I guess, quality in terms of gameplay, in terms of actually making games run on it, and in terms of performance, I guess the right word, I guess $399 is a decent price, but it really needs to be, at minimum, and I really mean minimum here, needs to be at the performance of a Steam Deck. It needs a Steam Deck performance. If it doesn't have that, then what's the point of it? Like, genuinely, what is the point of it? Like, I know Pokemon and stuff and these, like, Nintendo games aren't necessarily the most, GPU intensive or CPU or whatever the hell you want to call it. They're not really the most, like, power intensive games. Sure, but you can literally run those games better on an emulator on something like this. Like, it genuinely will run better on this. You can actually fine-tune it, because the Switch doesn't have a lot of, malleability and modifiability. You can't really do much with it. So that's one of the worst parts about it. By the way, my point is just that I really hope that it's going to perform at least at the level of a regular Steam Deck, because the only reason, let's be real here, and you got to be honest about it, the only reason we buy a Switch or really any Nintendo console is for Nintendo games. But if Nintendo games want to evolve and get better, not just graphically, because graphics aren't everything, but like just if they want to evolve and get better and do bigger things, you need a console that can actually run these games. But that's not all. Sorry, but I don't want to buy another Switch if all I can ever play on it is Pokemon, okay? The reason I'm using this and why I wanted this instead of another Switch, or why I'm not playing on my actual Switch, I don't have anything to play on the Switch. Like, I'm sorry, but a lot of the third-party games that I want to play, whether it's Call of Duty, which I don't even want to play Call of Duty, but if I wanted to, it's not really functional on there. There's a lot of games that I want to play on the Switch, but you just can't. It physically, literally cannot play them. It has no way of doing so because the console is just not powerful enough. And that's sort of what kind of brings the console down. So I really hope they at least make this thing powerful enough to justify the $400 cost, and at least make it as strong, if not stronger than a Steam Deck at minimum. Again, this is not even a Steam Deck. This is stronger than a Steam Deck. This performs better. This has better performance. But this is why also this thing is like $600, okay? Like on discount. This thing started out at like $800, okay? This is like $800. It's like practically a gaming computer in my hands, more or less. So what I'm trying to argue here is I really hope that to justify that $450 cost, maximum cost, right, or $400 to $450, I really hope it's just strong enough to run like third-party games and not just Nintendo games. Because, of course, Nintendo is going to try to optimize their games to make sure it fits to it. And, of course, any second-party developers, like anybody like, like Game Freak, whatever, they're going to try, they're going to be working mainly on the Switch. So for them, it's going to be a little bit more fine and easy because they're going to know what the console is and how to make games for it properly. But I really hope that we can see other games on there, too. It'd be really fun to see other stuff on the Switch besides it just being a Nintendo machine or a Zelda or Pokemon or Mario machine, because as much as I love those games, I'm sorry, but I'm not playing Pokemon and Zelda every single day. I have other stuff I want to play too, and unfortunately, this console can't do it. So that's pretty much that. But let's get into the actual, some of the other stuff that we have seen. So again, you guys may have seen this photo right here on the screen, but this is basically a photo showing what the dock might look like. And this is a mock-up that was made. On the left side here, I think this image specifically was like a mock-up of kind of like what the actual shell from D-Brand. So D-Brand, if you guys do not know, is a company that basically makes shells and stuff. I'm actually get myself a D-Brand like branded thingy to have on this thing to kind of like protect it. Like they make shells and protection and stuff like that for phones and gaming consoles and everything in between. And they're kind of goofy and they like to make memes, but they basically kind of leaked the Nintendo Switch 2, shell that's going to be on it. And then on top of that, a user on Reddit actually shared that he had access to the new Switch. Like he actually had his hands on it. And in such, people have been making mock-ups. So this right here looks like a mock-up of that. Of course, this new Switch is going to be larger, which is good. If it's going to be the size of this thing, because this thing is big, and I'm going to show you what I mean. Like size comparison wise, if you take a Switch, right, and you take look at these two. Look at the size difference. I don't know if you guys can actually see this, but look at the difference between these two consoles, right? Like this is look at that. You can fit almost the entirety of a freaking Switch console inside of just the screen of the Lenovo Legion Go. That's not even counting everything else. You can literally fit the entirety of it just here. Like it is crazy how much bigger it is and how much larger and nicer this is. Like this bigger screen, even though some of you might argue, I don't care about a bigger screen, etc., etc., that's fine. That's totally okay. But I do like the larger screen. It makes it so much nicer to play. It is just so nice. So I really do hope that's the case here. I also say a new Nintendo Switch leak hints at a January 2025 reveal event and hints at a modern AAA games by 2025. That would be amazing. This is exactly what I've been talking about for the past, fucking 10 minutes. But yes, Nintendo fans have been eagerly waiting for any news about the Switch 2 and the much anticipated successor to the wildly popular Switch console. While Nintendo has already confirmed that this new system will be announced before March 2025, details in the reveal event have been scarce until now. Over the past few days, a flurry of rumors and leaks have surfaced, painting a clear picture of what the actual design for the console and the new Joy-Cons. And I think here you can see sort of a size comparison of what we can expect, which almost is about the size of this, right? It gets close to it. It's not exact. It's not exact. I will be honest. It's not 100% exact, but it is the closest I think I've actually seen. Like this might be the closest I've actually witnessed, which if true, very based, I must say. Very, 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 very based. Very much me likey. But let's continue down the actual list here. They say the latest wave of speculation began with the prominent YouTubers and insiders chiming in on social media, fueling excitement for what's shaping up to be one of the most significant console launches in recent memory. If the rumors are accurate, the reveal could happen much sooner than expected, potentially setting the stage for an impressive lineup of modern AAA games to hit the Nintendo's next-gen system by 2025. Nintendo Switch 2 reveal event date leaked. Now, one of the most intriguing leaks comes from Nintentalk, a well-known Nintendo-focused YouTuber who shared an update on their Twitter account saying that according to Nintentalk, a major third-party developer has indicated that Nintendo plans to reveal the Switch 2 in January 2025. They also shared a hint about the console's capabilities, quoting their source as saying, "Get ready to play modern AAA offerings on your Nintendo system in 2025." Now, backing up this claim, Nintendo Prime, which is another YouTuber, actually, I think we know, is a friend of the channel, another Nintendo-focused content creator, added, "I corroborate that January is what I have been told for the Nintendo Switch reveal event, and based on what I know, AAA offerings on Switch 2 are going to be absolutely insane." This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what we need. Like, I love Nintendo games. Trust me, I do. I really do. But man, I would love to play something else on it too. Otherwise, it's just sitting in... Like, that's the worst part. I love this thing. I love this console. Why do you think I got the knockoff? Why do you think I got the knockoff? I got the knockoff because I want to be able to enjoy shit on the go. But this is just not strong enough to play anything besides Pokemon on like 25 FPS. Okay? I need a stronger Switch. We all want a stronger Switch, but you need to justify it in the powerfulness of the console to charge us a lot of money. So, either way, other insiders like Samus Hunter, I should point out, Samus Hunter as an insider has been correct and incorrect in the past, so just take that into account. But basically, Samus Hunter said that third-party studios have been waiting for the new generation to be able to release their games on Nintendo. And I'm not talking about porting from PS4, but also current generation. Think of BioWare, From Software, or CD Projekt Red, but also Japanese studios like Namco and Atlus. Which, you know what that means. You know what that means. Metaphori Fantasio. could be coming to the Switch too, which would be very nice. But not just that. If Persona 6 happens, it would be nice to get Persona 6 on the actual, Switch 2 instead of waiting for freaking decades for it to come out. But yeah, that would be really nice. But again, this from Nintendo, Nintendo Talk saying, source, Nintendo to reveal Switch 2 in January again, this thing we just read. And of course, this is coming from a major third-party, developer contact I have. Here's what they say about the console. Get ready to play modern AAA offerings. Awesome. Either way, but apparently, if we continue down the rest of this, have echoed similar sentiments. Simon Hunter 2 emphasized that the third-party studios have been holding off on releasing some of their biggest titles until Nintendo's next-gen system arrives. Think of BioWare, From Software, CD Projekt Red, but also Japanese studios like Namco and Atlus, they noted. While these leaks paint an exciting picture of what's to come, it's important to take everything with a grain of salt until Nintendo officially confirms the details. Still, the thought of playing current-gen AAA games like the newly revealed The Witcher 4 on a Nintendo console is enough to keep fans on the edge of their seats. Which is true. I'm very excited. Now, rumored, the Nintendo Switch 2 to size and dimensions. So, apparently, adding to the speculation, D-Brand has claimed to have actual dimensions of the Nintendo Switch 2 based on a 3D scan of the hardware. According to their findings, the Switch 2 measures at 270 millimeters wide, 116 millimeters tall, and 14 millimeters thick, with the console portion occupying 200 millimeters of the width. That's pretty fair. Now, I know this is just a mock-up right here. This black Switch thingy here right here is a mock-up. I really hope they do like a full black, like setup like this, where like it actually looks like this, color-wise. This is like sick coloring. Like, I love this thing. It looks so good. Man, they really should hire some of these like artists to make this stuff for them. Either way, they also shared some interesting details about the system's physical features, including magnetically attached Joy-Con controllers with an ejection button on the back. So again, similar to this, like you got an ejection button right at the bottom here, and you just pull it out, and it uses like a little bit of magnetism in between, tiny bit, but most of it is just click on. And it does feel a little bit like scary taking these off. I'm not going to lie to you. It is a bit terrifying, but I do hope these will be less scary. But either way, they say additionally, the device is said to include a 108 millimeter wide kickstand, which could offer improved stability to compare to its predecessor, which is true. I hate this thing. I know that they improved it in the OLED, but this thing on the original Switch, disgusting. Actually disgusting. Like, this is horrendous. I hate this thing. I hate it. It is not stable whatsoever. If I put it down, it falls off. It falls over. Literally falls over. It is horrendous. I really don't know why they didn't start that. But I mean, hey, it was an earliest version, so I'm okay with it. So I really do hope they're gonna do what they did, I think, with the OLED, right? Which is like what they do with the Lenovo Legion Go. You guys can see there's a very big stand on the back, and it's like the most sturdy thing ever. It is so nice. I can even put it on the table right here in front of me and like look down on the table. I can use it like an iPad almost, which is great. So yeah, that's one of the things. Then we move on though, which is here are some fan-made concept arts on the Switch 2 based on the leaked details. So yeah, it's just concept art for what it could look like. Again, not actual like leaked images. That's one of the big things you have to remember, but this is like really early on concept art. Again, based also on what D-Brand has been saying and stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much summarizes that. Now let's move on to the next thing on the agenda. So, we talked about that, but let's talk a little bit about Legends EA again. Now, this right here is a bit of a theory from none else than Pokemon content creator, I guess, if you want to call him that, but also a friend of ours by the name of Soul Silver says, I don't think we've talked enough about the dash in Pokemon Legends EA. Now, what is he talking about? Well, basically, you guys know that Pokemon Legends EA logo literally says Pokemon Legends ZA, and then you have Z, which is the Z that's shaped sort of to have like the pattern of Zygarde on it, and then the A, which looks like a tree. So, what's the whole deal about it? Well, he's talking about the little dash right here where my camera is blocking it. So there's a little dash right there, and he's talking about specifically that. Well, let's see what he has to say. He starts off saying that, in fact, always write it ZA when it should be Z-A. But just the fact that it has the hidden blue and the red border on it probably hints to its significance. Now, of course, you guys don't know this, but on the logo, if you really zoom in here, like right on the area where that dash is, there is actually a little bit of blue and a little bit of red on the bottom, right? So that's what he's referring to here. But if we go back and read what he says here, he says that then there's how the title should be said. If I'm not mistaken, in the Japanese, it should be pronounced out loud as Z to A, so probably in English Z to A. Again, we always say ZA out loud, but it should probably be Z through A, and actually the Z goes through the A and even completes the A, or to A instead. No? Now, it was very curious why there is a dash / hyphen. It could always be a play on the from beginning to end, which, yes, keep in mind, you have AZ or AZ, AZ the character. So that's probably this is coming from, right? And that's going from A to Z, right? Going from A to Z. Like it's a concept, like it's literally just a figure of speech, right? If you say like, we're gonna, you know, we're gonna go through this entire room from A to Z. We're gonna go through everything and you know, make sure we go through all of it, right? But also Z to A is reverse. So you're implying going backwards in a sense, right? But also you have AZ the character. So it's a lot of connections you can make here. But either way, he says it's very curious though why there is a dash and hyphen. It could always be a play on the beginning to the end, or in this case, end to beginning. Maybe even making some kind of loop theme with the letters, which actually fits the description of N dash, which expresses a period of time. But it could have multiple meanings that it could pull from all three grammatical purposes of a dash. And he'll explain them down below. Ultimately, I see it as representing a mechanic or things like Mega Evolution or Xerneas and Evedel that connects Z to A. Time will tell. Of course, here you have N dash, which expresses a period of time, a hyphen form a hyphenated word, or M dash, which shows a break in a sentence. So there's different ways, like hyphens versus dashes, like what's the difference? In this case, I don't really know what this would be, a dash or a hyphen. I don't really know. It is curious, to say the least. He says the reason for the dash could always be because Zygarde says this when you encounter it, but it could either, but it would either be really insane to give its cry a bigger meaning, or really boring that it's just a cry, and it's just Z A, you know, literally like the actual word that Zygarde says, like the actual. Not even word, the actual noise that it makes, which is Z-D-D-D-D-A, Z-A, right? Could be that. Literally could be that. It's the reverse of AZ. It is what it is. It could be that. It could be that. It would be funny, though. Because it says here, I wonder if Pokemon Legends Z is set in the past. Will they be possibly explain and or show how and why Zygarde ended up in the Terminus Cave, or better yet, in Resolution Cave in Alola? Also, Zygarde also literally cries ZDA when it first ever was encountered. Maybe that cry was meant to be the first tease to part of its cut plot from the cut Pokemon Z game. Now, these two different caves also have the same layout and areas, even though they are in two separate regions. Could these caves be something along the lines of being the same place found in different time dimensions? Who knows? Or maybe the cave was somehow moved. The possibilities are endless, curious, and mysterious. In reality, these are probably just fun meta references that Game Freak put in here instead of deep lore connections, but hey, who knows? But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much summarizes it for today's video, guys. Of course, make sure to check out our sponsor down below in the link in the description, and thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.